So we were told from the inner circle that maybe we were doing too much of this podcasting thing. And maybe we should take a break. Maybe we should.
That is not what was told from the inner circle. It was.
I'm using it. I'm.
If you're running out of bandwidth, maybe you should go drop to once every other week.
Locker room, Andrew.
We're not.
We're on the cusp of series. We surpassed the 100th episode. We're on 101. One more, and we get to call it. After that, we get to call it season 2. No, I'm not starting over. This is the cold intro. So. Arizona is a wildly beautiful place, brimming with over 100 brewing companies. I'm Rob Fulmer, the Executive Director of the Arizona Craft Brewers Guild. I'm joined by Deputy Director Andrew Bauman. Together we cover the state, bringing you the best of what's happening at our breweries and beyond. Welcome to Arizona Beer Frontier. We do have beers in this refrigerator that probably are long in the tooth because of us, not because of anything. You poured that hard.
I always pour my beers hard. I wanted to get all the CO2 out of them.
Yeah, that's true.
Generally, there's a lot of CO2 in beers, more than I prefer. But, that's why we have the flexibility of hard pouring.
Great.
Yeah.
So
Hey, Rob.
Andrew Bauman.
Good morning. Welcome back to Phoenix.
Thank you for coming here on your day off. I'm wearing my day off attire, which, no branding. Well, what hat am I wearing? Is there?
No.
Abe? Abe's Old Tumacacri Inn.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I do not work for them, so I feel like,
Yeah.
I
Great.
can wear that.
No, you do not work for them. I decided that although I did schedule today as a day off, I needed to empty my car more than I needed a day off.
Yeah, I got that too.
Packed, man.
I was looking. We will, by the time you hear this, there will be information about Real Wild and Woody out, ticket sales.
Ticket sales will be live.
Yeah, and we're going to let everybody who knew who won or had a ticket last year. So hopefully we won't have a lot to sell for June 8th. But
We are going from 500 to 750 for our total number of guests invited. I increased the number of porta potties as well. Just so everyone knows.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. So thank you for coming on your day off. It's
Okay, you're welcome.
yeah. I'm considering driving up tonight to get rid of the stuff in my
You're
car.
considering driving to Flagstaff just to dump it off at your house up there?
Yeah. I don't know.
Well, the weather's gorgeous, so if there's
Yeah.
a time to do it, I guess this is now.
I was just looking at the calendar what we got coming up because we've got that in June and we've got what else?
DC.
DC, the District of Columbia. Yeah. It's going to be there's going to be 2 weeks. We're going to be just not in town for 2 weeks. We'll be in Flagstaff
This is the way.
or DC. I'm going to Seattle next Monday.
Yeah.
A week from now
Cool.
for a couple days. I'm going to reach out to the guild up there and see if there's some business we can talk about.
Cool.
So,
I'm going to Rocky Point the day you return from Seattle
right.
for my 30th wedding anniversary.
Great.
First time in Rocky Point.
Right. We had a great time in Tucson.
We did.
It was a little warm, but I will tell you, I think the guest experience was amazing.
I heard zero complaints, honestly. The little bit of breeze and all the shade that park has kept it absolutely reasonable.
Yeah. And we're going to talk about what the future of that festival is and what could improve it. And it wouldn't take a lot. It would just take some outside help. So, let's talk about. I got to visit a couple breweries. You got to visit, do a few things. I went to. I don't know where you guys were. Maybe I was just out at night. I went to Iron John's at night, where they have their league play with their indoor soccer.
Oh, right.
And I can't think of another. Well, there's certainly not a brewery in Arizona that has
Indoor soccer.
in this indoor space that keep super air conditioned for obvious reasons. They finally have their brewery online there because the last couple times, I came somewhere closer to the recovery of the pandemic, and they were kind of between all their locations and all that stuff. And I had a West Coast IPA. There's a little crystal malt in that. If you're not a fan of that, I think it's a nice callback to the original, the OG Sierra Nevada. I thought it was good. It was clear. It was bitter as get out, which sometimes, some of these West Coast revivals, they think it's all about just the clarity. It's got to have that bitterness, sometimes bracing bitterness. I believe that's the word they used, at least in the homebrew style guidelines.
Right.
Bracing. Right. So
makes you sit up and recognize it right away.
Right. And as I mentioned, beer owns bitterness. Well,
cocktails can really play in that area, but not always. Mostly sweet.
You see it expressed as bitters as an addition, but those usually are just to balance out, which I guess is beer. But like in terms of just going for it on the bitterness end, a Negroni maybe.
That's why I like that.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So like if bitterness comes back as a compliment to your dinner table, yeah.
If you're to have a super tannic red wine,
it's true.
Is that bitterness?
It's
a dryness. Yeah. It's not really bitterness, but it's in the same family.
Yeah.
As far as flavors.
Yeah. I don't usually hear people calling it. I mean,
Only
I know
me.
this about you.
Only me. I know. Like, it's so hard for me to find a wine I like because...
Right. Maybe the wine you're looking for is a beer.
I always say, come and get me wine.
Isn't that the...
I always say that.
There's a fruit fly in here.
Yeah.
Isn't that the sometimes the best job for... the best man for a job is a woman? Maybe the wine you're looking for is a beer.
Is a beer. Probably is. I mean, I hate to be the one-trick pony, but here I am.
Yeah, so I went there. I got to see a brewery in planning. Right around the corner on the backside of Barrio.
I went to meet the porta potty guys, and you went to a brewery. It sounds like a fair trade.
Yeah, I mean...
So tell me more about Slow Body.
Yeah, Slow Body is... walkable to Barrio. Like it's a good compliment because they're not going to necessarily go brew pub. But they do have, I can't speak anything about the beers. They are actually poised to brew this week. They may not have their certificate of occupancy by then. They may or may not, but they're going to start brewing. They have all their other requirements taken care of. So I walked in and it's clearly, or it was a meat packing plant of some sort or warehouse. It is deceivingly long because it's a narrow building, but it's long. I walk in and you could see where the bar is going to be immediately, and you can see some long tables. And I was struck. They had probably 18 like 5-gallon planters. You were going to sneeze, right?
Sneeze is coming on.
18, 5 or 10, no, not 5, probably 20-gallon, maybe even some larger gallon planters with large plants in them. I'm like, congratulations,
wow.
You have more plants than almost all of the breweries combined in Arizona, like house plants.
Sure.
And, it's shown around the brewery. I didn't take any photos. I didn't think, and I didn't ask, so I don't usually without asking. There was things that I can tell,
especially
that things
new
are in
places.
Process.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I just didn't want to show clutter until, I don't think they've posted anything on their socials. So, but I can describe it, right? I think it was a Premier stainless, probably 10-barrel, lots of tanks, separate cellar area. And we walked outside, and I noticed there was some in the front, but there was a lot more along the side patio that they have and the back patio that they have. Several species of native plants and some others. There was grapes, a grape vine
Cool.
on the shady side of the building. And I said, "What's going on with all these plants? I mean, you know, I saw them inside, and what was this building before?" And Vincent,
Yes.
who used to work at Pueblo Vita, explained to me that there were people living there. And I said, "Oh, really?" And he's like, "Yeah, they met each other in Biodome.
Okay.
Biodome is the bubble,
Yeah.
uh,
Scientific adventure.
right, where they sealed people in for, they tried to do it for a year. I don't know. There was some controversy. I don't know.
There's Biodome. There's Biodome 2. Yeah, I listened to a couple podcasts about
Right.
Biodome and the drama therein. So exciting.
Yeah. I think ants were the problem, right? Oxygen and ants.
This was about interpersonal relationships.
Oh, no. I'm talking about why they had to bring in air because they hadn't quite balanced that out. But I thought ants were a problem. Anyway, a couple that met and got married and lived together in a meat warehouse is kind of,
And then they sold it?
well, yeah, I
Or
hope
they're
they
still
sold it.
there.
They're still there.
I don't know. Maybe they made a little apartment on the back.
Andrew, they went the whole Biodome after they had
They went back to the
after
Biodome?
after they left this mortal coil. They were
Went
brought back into-
as plants? What?
I don't know.
As ants?
I don't
What's
want to start
happening?
that. I think it's a story that you would never hear about a brewery necessarily, right? Like, first of
Sure.
all, a sentence. They met each other at Biodome and got married, and then they lived in a meat packing plant. That's amazing, right?
It is really.
I hope I didn't just take the gas out of
It
their
is
grand
really a
opening story.
wild thing.
I apologize if the 8 people who got that inside tip from us ruined their big reveal.
Why the plants are there?
Yeah.
Okay.
The Biodome, a pure, self-contained environment where 5 scientists are about to be sealed off from every conceivable form of contamination, except one.
Yeah.
All right. So that's Slow Body. Cool.
Yeah. This one trick that breweries that in planning don't want you to know.
There's one crazy trick.
Yeah, no, that was cool. I you know, and they're going to be, you know, members and get involved, and they're part of the, you know, the number, but it's, you know, just below 2 dozen breweries down there, depending how far you.
Brick Box, Mosaic.
Those are new, but they are transfers of ownership, right?
Yes.
Somewhat.
Yes.
One of them, Thunder Canyon is now
Brick Box. I don't know what's Thunder Canyon's exact situation
Well, I
is.
think they're maintaining those brands for a while, but I don't know what the future of those are.
Sure.
I talked to Steve Tracy a little bit.
Yeah. It's so nice of him to come out the whole day. Like
I
a
know.
lot of owners pop in, pop out. He did all setup, all breakdown. He was like all in the whole day.
Yeah, no, I know. He's like, yeah, I guess I'm retired. I'm like, what are you doing here? And what are you doing here now?
He's
I
like, well, now I'm doing it for fun.
I'm like, you can come in when we're all drinking. Yeah. Yeah, I saw some people from Dillinger too, and they paid for a ticket. I said, oh, you know, anytime, man, you guys want to.
I have to go blow my nose.
Oh, okay. You know, we go entire weeks of shows where we don't have a break, and I think we're probably gonna have to insert 2 breaks there. It's all right though.
don't
I could
know.
do that little tappy tap one.
Okay. Thank you.
Let's get all the.
Dude, bodily.
Let's release all the humors. I'm using.
Who? Oh, man. Steve Jobs. He subscribed to this crazy notion that it's
He was a homeopathy.
mucus that ruins your whole life. And if you eat plants that don't produce mucus, mostly fruits, then you can really help your.
Yeah, he had a lot of body odor.
It didn't work
and
well. That's because he didn't
I had-
shower. He said it's impossible for me to smell because I don't eat those foods.
And then
people
he-
are like, "But you smell," and he's like,
probably
"No,
had
I don't."
Chronic diarrhea too from eating fruits all the time.
Yeah, it was a 3-part series on a podcast called Behind the Bastards. It was pretty interesting. Shout out to Behind the Bastards.
Yeah, as long as they shout out back. Okay, so
That was my listen on the way home from Las Vegas. I used my time wisely.
right on.
So, back to Tucson.
Yeah,
We got to Tucson.
pre-event. This is a pre-event.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we got to Tucson. We stopped at Button. We did a quick drive-by over at Catalina because
Yeah.
that's right there. Then we came and met you at Tap and Bottle where they had a food truck with some delicious food.
Yeah, I think it's a Parky truck, the Parky truck, Parky sandwiches. Very good sandwiches, like super layered with different flavors.
Mine was like rolled burrito, but definitely more sandwich. And yeah, it was awesome.
Mine was a porchetta, but it was sliced thin and crispy on the outside. You know, the skin, you can tell that they roasted it and it was crispy and they sliced it thin. And it was folded in with a lot of different, I don't know, flavors and good bread. And it kind of reminded me of a sandwich that my mom used to make at when they owned a convenience store and they used to make sandwiches. And they made this pork loin sandwich for me. I mean, it was not the same, but sliced really super thin and real mayonnaise, not the Miracle Whip or the bullshit mayonnaise. So they
Full of egg.
yeah,
Yum.
and you know, part of making sandwiches is when you wrap it. It kind of, especially if it's warm, it pulls all those flavors together. It's super good. I was actually very impressed by all the foods I had in Tucson. As usual, I guess.
Absolutely, yeah.
But they had a band there, Hank Topless and the Dead Horses.
Yeah, but Hank was sick, so someone else was substituting.
I did not know that.
I heard that from a conversation with the bartender.
Dude looked like the dude on the poster to me.
There was a big fan who was like, "Oh, where's?" And he's like, "Oh, he's sick today, so someone else came in, and yeah, we're really digging it though." Oh,
It was a trio. They were good. The music there continues to impress me. Thursday, it draws in more people than some of the other larger format places around the, just right across the street. So, did we run into anybody there? Or was it just us?
that was it.
I think Ken Roberts was there. I ran into him. I had a talk with former brewer at Thunder Canyon, Kyle. He also worked at 1912.
Right?
He and his wife are moving to Atlanta.
Oh
They
my.
both. He's got a federal job and she's got a job with the university. So
Hey,
it's good to say hello, give him an update on what's going on, and Ken was there. This was at Caps and Cork when you were also in the park doing stuff.
was that Friday morning?
It was
Yeah.
Friday afternoon,
Sure.
like before we met. Oh, so you had to go to Moto, and I didn't even get to ask you about Moto Sonora's.
Oh, I didn't
Pre-event.
have to. I'm a full grown man. I do what I want. I wanted to go to
Well, I
Moto.
thought we had talked about that you were going to go there, and I was going to go back to Tap and Bottle for the
Yes.
Mother Road
Tap takeover.
Tap
sure.
takeover.
And Moto Sonora was very sad they couldn't have a booth at the event. So instead, they put on a pre-event where they bought the first beer for anyone that had a ticket and did VIP brewery tours with Jeremy, the owner.
Yeah.
For anyone with a VIP ticket.
Right on.
Yeah. And then on Saturday, Jeremy came and volunteered to work the whole time. We never called on him, but he's like, if you want, I'm ready to go.
Yeah. Yeah. No, he rode his bike over.
It can be rough to just, do a one-person event setup. So
Yeah.
I can see why he might be like, no way.
Yeah. Yeah. It's there's a couple hours before, and then there's at least 45 minutes
And that's a super great way
afterwards.
to support the guild, support the event without being able to be there is that pre-event.
Yeah.
So thoughtful, so kind.
Well, we can talk about that in the post-event phase of our discussion.
Okay, sure.
So I have notes.
So
on
we're
that,
still
we're not gonna
pre-event because I got up. I went out at 7:45. I was on site. Okay, so let me give you a little scenario. I have to lay out where all the booths go. So I like to take a string and set it in one place, stretch it across to the next place. Now I have a straight line for which to paint my dots where the tents start.
Right.
Right? Well, I didn't have any rope. So the only thing open at that time of day was CVS. And that was quite an adventure in itself. I don't think we need to go into it. It was just, I didn't get rope. Let's just say that. Although it did take me 25 minutes to not get rope. So that happened. And then I got to the place. Oh, and then I drove past an Ace Hardware that also opened at 7 a.m. And I was very pissed off because I didn't have time to stop because I was already supposed to meet at 8 o'clock with the dumpster guy. So, and it's a good thing because they were early. So I got there at 7:45. Dumpster rolls in. Later, the fences and the porta potties show up and all the good stuff to be set in place. But as I'm making the dots, I said to myself, once again, Andrew, you're overthinking it because this is working fine with no rope. Just look at where you're spray painting and say, that looks
I
pretty
thought
square.
you had dental floss.
I got dental floss, but it just wasn't worth
Right.
doing because it would have been such a huge pain.
Right.
Eh,
Okay.
that's how it all went down, Rob. So I got there, I painted, I put the space numbers in all of them, and
Yeah.
it worked out perfect, and it looked great, and it was totally unnecessary to have a rope to make totally straight lines. That's the moral of the story.
Okay. So you learned something.
Stop overthinking it. I constantly ask people, am I overthinking this?
I would defer to getting the right equipment. Then that was one of the things I would have thought would be what you need to do.
Nope.
For sure.
Nope, didn't need that.
Yeah.
Worked great.
So, what else? We
Then we
met-
went to lunch.
No. We went and talked to Eric Green.
Oh, right.
From Dragoon,
Yes.
and talked about other things, which we'll talk about in the
post show.
Yeah. But it was good to catch up with those folks. We had lunch then at Barrio and caught up with Jamie, the GM or the. She's got
President?
she's got a board title, but she's like, I'm the only officer, so like it doesn't
okay.
even matter.
Yeah.
It's like she's either the chief operating officer or something like that.
Right.
But as you may know, they are an employee-owned company at this point. So at this point, I believe that they are close to or have already paid the equity back to Dennis Arnold, Dennis and Tana Arnold, the original owners. So remarkable story. They celebrated 30 years of brewing on Wednesday before we got there.
I know.
Talking about Barrio Blonde being in existence for 30 years. It started at Gentle Ben's. I was trying to get over to Gentle Ben's, by the way, just to
Have been there.
well, I mean, I hadn't been there in a while.
People talk to me about that place. I've
Never been there.
Well, I mean, I already have a pretty
It would've been-
extensive list of places that I
Yeah.
want to go to support our members.
Sure. No. So I was going to go there, order a Barrio Blonde.
Sure,
So I had
absolutely. I mean,
a remembrance of.
not saying the only
Yeah.
place I go is member breweries, but I'm saying that is what my focus is always.
This brings me to a point that I
Great.
had thought about, but I didn't write on my piece of paper. So thank you.
Okay.
So we had an amazing representation of most of the breweries in Tucson, right? And often the thing is like, why should I do that if I go to these breweries or I get all the spirit? Well, one, there were two breweries there that had changed names and ownerships. Dillinger, the equipment of and the brewer came with the Serial Grillers guys to make Mosaic. So that is essentially something that most people who have done it all have not really. If you blink, you're going to miss that kind of stuff. So they were there. Screwbean was there. This is probably their first or second or third.
It was their
first with us.
Is their first event.
Yeah.
It was their first festival.
Right. So right there, you have those two. You have. Should we mention it now? We were remiss in not.
Oh, yeah.
And we did not
Wait,
mention.
so let's finish that thought. So
Okay.
that thought is there is no better place to find a collection of Tucson local breweries
Right.
at the same place at the same time than Baja Beer Fest.
Right.
That's kind of a big deal.
So you drive around and you
Right.
drop off posters, and you don't sit at every place and have
Right.
a beer because
No.
clearly you'd be dead.
right. When
Or
I
I
do,
would
I
fire
get
you for
I,
having 21 beers in an
Yeah.
afternoon.
I get a 10-ounce beer at many of the places. I do not get them at all the places because, yeah, exactly.
Some
I
of them
can't.
aren't open. Regardless, that takes you how long? Hours. Hours and hours
days.
and hours. Days. Okay.
Days.
Right. And so you can't responsibly go to all those places.
Correct.
And this is a way of bringing that up. Sure, you can now get some of these things at Total Wine or wherever, but I mean, I'm just saying, like, it used to be like, well, you're getting, well, the argument was always you're getting a variety, but this, or I already know these people. I already hang out at that brewery. I think, that argument is once again dead. I really think that's where at a base level, that's our value. The fact also
Absolutely.
that people like Jeremy, who, if everybody knows everybody, and you see people like Jeremy walking around helping, you don't see them in that role. It's important for them to feel part of that festival, and we'll get into that a little bit more. But that's what you're missing if you just dismiss, for $55, 50 some odd bucks.
It was 45.
Yeah, 45. The mileage alone, if you paid government mileage, is going to be at least 25 or 30 bucks just driving around.
45 bucks to get in, 30 breweries, other great vendors, amazing food trucks. Yeah, it was cool.
Oh, yeah.
I thought it was a good value, but that's not what the point is. The point is we had another brewery there that brought a gold medal winning beer to our beer festival. Only won the medal 2 weeks ago.
The World Beer Cup in the world
Yeah, World Beer Cup.
for Kolsch, a style that makes complete and utter sense in
And
the
that
state.
Arizona has forever embraced.
Yeah. From Sunbrew at Four Peaks, now places like Wren House, which I'm drinking, or have sort of picked up the mantle on carrying these European
Huss
styles.
has a Kolsch.
Huss has they have a coffee Kolsch. But
Yeah.
I mean, just about anybody who's got a brew pub has made up Kolsch, right? So I'm sure, Barrio has made a Kolsch. It is. If you're not doing a blonde, you're doing a Kolsch, right?
Yeah.
If you're in the ale mentality, and you but now I think people are starting to understand lagering techniques a little better, tightening that window, or balancing their load so they can have
Being
those
willing to
longer.
invest in the time. Yeah,
Yeah, but everybody's cut their teeth on a Kolsch.
absolutely.
So, World Beer Cup winning Banquetera, which we can get, you and I can get that anytime. There's one by your house. There's one
Yeah.
close to where I go downtown. We can get that every day, all day, right? Tucson, that was your opportunity to have that. From those were freshies brought up from
Gold
Yeah.
medal.
Yeah.
The best Kolsch in the world, according to World Beer Cup.
Yeah. And we don't always, we did know about that ahead of time. I didn't work that out in advance because I didn't want them to, first of all, I didn't want them to come up and we can't, we committed a lot of those after
Beaky
we won.
Beachy.
Yeah.
Great Buki Beachy.
Yeah.
Great supporter of the Arizona craft beer scene and the guild.
So we don't always get to tell people that that's going to happen. That's what was my point.
Right.
You just have to be there.
Yes, I did a social media post as soon as I heard about it. But yeah, it was only a couple days
I didn't
before
tell
the
you
event.
because I wanted to confirm that they were bringing it and B,
Absolutely. I mean,
So I do apologize. I did apologize to Lisa. Oh yeah, it was in my head. We didn't feature it in our World Beer Cup episode, but we're talking about it now. So hopefully that makes up for everything. So I didn't get to experience the festival itself in the way that I normally do. I actually had a different experience because we were a little bit shorthanded at the front, and I worked the line
Let's
from start to finish.
Let's flesh out why we were a little shorthanded, because I ghosted you.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe. I just let Rob and Bonnie work the front, and I went and had my birthday.
I didn't mention your birthday either.
I know, I just said it.
I didn't feel like you ghosted me. I felt like we were missing 2 volunteers, right?
We were missing 2 volunteers that we had on the list. Our other volunteers, we had 2 that came late, which was anticipated, and helped with breakdown. Amazing, because no one's ever said, "Can I help with breakdown?" before.
Oh, and the water stations were properly
Water stations were manned all day long. So
Yeah.
our 4 initial volunteers, Martha and RB and their 2 friends,
Yep.
came in, helped with setup, and then when they were released from service to go
Right.
enjoy the event, they continued checking the water thing and redoing the water the whole time.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
incredible. But we were missing the 2 that would have really lightened the load at the front.
Should also mention that we had volunteer help from Liz Rosevier from Grand Canyon.
She was incredibly generous with her time.
Yeah. And, super funny to work with and greeting the guests. And I mean, we were both kind of jabbing at each other and the industry and all this stuff. She let a few people in that had GA tickets way early. I said, well, if we're going to do that, let's at least put VIP wristbands on them. Like,
Right.
Because I don't want to hear about, oh, well, I thought VIP was for us only. We did make the call a couple times to let some folks in early because we didn't have enough shade outside. We had plenty of shade inside, but I didn't think I wanted to get everyone standing in the sun
For another half hour.
for another half. People got
Yeah.
there early, which, to
Right.
me, that's great. Like, so we
We had a lot of GA people that arrived right around
right.
12.
I'm not saying you should
started
come
lining up.
super early in the future because we won't always do this.
We generally don't, but
But because I didn't want people standing in the sun and becoming immediately dehydrated, and
Yeah.
you know how it is. Like you mow the lawn, you're gonna crush like 4 beers before you even cool off. I didn't want that, so we did let some folks in honor of your birthday,
In honor of my
and also
birthday.
because Liz made a call and decided to just do that. I'm like, all right, well. Those guys saw you do that, so now I got to promise these guys, all right, well, we're going to wait 15 minutes, and as long as you stand real close to each other in the shade here, and then we're going to do this, but you can't.
we also were lucky enough to have my daughter
Yeah.
and her friend Jenna helping us
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
So they did, they set up a little birthday friendship bracelet making station for me.
Yes, for your birthday. I did not get a friendship bracelet. I hope that doesn't mean anything to you.
I didn't make one.
Oh.
And all of the breweries came and sang happy birthday to me, which
did.
was so cute. I started crying the second I walked up to it. And then
We told you there, like we never get that kind of
We never
response
get
for like
it.
the mandatory liquor talk that we're supposed to
Yeah.
give. So I gave it, and then you also said, for my birthday, please everyone take a ticket.
take tickets for
great.
beers. That's all I want for my birthday.
That was awesome.
And then Margaret and Jenna went and helped at the merch booth for
Right.
most of the time. I think they took off for just the last 45
Mm-hmm.
minutes or so to.
Yeah, let's talk about merch, man.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about this. We
Yeah.
brought a lot of merch.
We did.
People ask about it.
We get a lot of hassle from attendees
When we
and
don't
from our
have merch.
members
Yeah.
for not having merch.
Right. We had merch.
We have a very limited window in which we can sell merch, which is our events.
Right.
And that's 6, 7 of them a year at this
Right.
point.
And the window for you as a consumer is like you see it when you get in, and you decide whether you want to be hassled with it for the whole time that you're
Yeah.
walking around. And then when you leave,
You just want to go home.
yeah.
You've already had enough. You're
Literally each customer has less than 30 seconds to decide whether they're going to buy it or not. And it's usually not. You have people pick up the shirts, hold them up, and then he's go, oh, I'll be back, and then they never come back. So I don't know what to make of that. We had some.
We had shirts, we had
nice
hats, we had
high-end
growlers,
stuff.
we had reasonable prices. Our jerseys that we got made were not. I mean, I think $60 for that quality of a jersey was a really good price.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you, like it. If we use standard retail markup, it would have been $80, 80 minimum.
We did $20 shirts,
Yeah,
pretty standard.
Yeah. $20 hats, which usually those are 25, 30 everywhere else. I don't know. I don't know what to make of
We
it.
did $25 for our stainless growlers, which
This is
we've had for 2 years.
Yeah.
So at this point, it's a sunk cost. Like, okay,
Right.
so I charged $25. That's our cost.
Yeah.
We sold 2. That's good.
We do have better success when we use Goodfellas. They bring a more varied collection of stuff, obviously, and they have more crossover stuff. But they're more engaging.
Their booth is stickier.
Yeah, they do more engagement. They're good at selling it. I mean, when I'm in the booth, I'm there already thinking about what I need to do when I'm not at the booth. So I'm terrible at it. I know how to work
I don't have time to work on merch booth. I just don't.
All I'm saying is we're going to rethink that. I think we really need to do pre-sales, and that's kind of a lot of it. And if we could get that, we could get our. Here's the thing: we also have to make a guess about what we're going to go through. If we decide right, we get if we overshoot, we send out a lot of merchandise, but we might get a slightly lower price per item. I don't know what to do, so I'm just throwing that out there.
Merch is horrendous. If someone is a really good expert at merch, please let us know
Yeah,
because we would love some help.
yeah, yes. Okay, that's all I'll say about that.
And we also need to get an online store going that we don't have to do fulfillment.
and we need
for.
to. We're in Facebook jail because we have merch on there that we had during the pandemic, and because we didn't sell any of it, we cannot do ads through our Facebook account. We can boost posts, but we can't do ads
We can boost posts, but we can't do
because
ads
they think
for
we're
sales of merch.
they think we're a scam.
Because
Facebook
people
operation.
ordered through the Facebook site. We did not have that product. We had to refund them. But every refund, just like with a credit card,
Right.
if you do a charge back and you charge it back, it hurts your whatever reputation value they call
This
it.
really wasn't it because they wanted to see what our sales were, and like we aren't selling anything anymore,
Right.
Because we're done with that. That's not what we're doing anymore, and so like we're put in this category that is merchandise sales,
Yeah.
and we're
It's
less
like being branded the naughty kid in first grade, and then
Right.
that reputation follows you all through your Facebook history.
Yeah. Beyond that, there are harsher and harsher requirements for alcohol sales. We do not sell alcohol, but we're cast in that lump too.
Because everything that we post says beer. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, well. Oh, well. My life is so hard. Wah, wah, wah.
Well, let me tell you, Facebook, Instagram, here's what we're getting now. We're getting,
Oh, God.
hey, I can't make the event. Will you buy my T_I__X? Please D?M me or whatever, like, because that is a scam. Do not buy event tickets of anything from an individual on Facebook. Do not do that because
That's
it's
correct.
a scam. You will Venmo them something and that account will be shut down in a heartbeat.
We have to delete those. It is like a job just sitting there waiting to delete those things.
Yeah, and like they'll go one after the other, and then on the backside we get DMs. If your account is under review, you are breaking trademarks. So if you do not respond and verify your account through like this, I don't know, 50 character URL, like that should be a thing right there with nothing that says Facebook at all. I mean, .com, right? Deleting those. So I don't know, man. Like I will tell you
Scamville.
right now, if we could jettison the whole social media thing,
We would have no way of reaching our consumers.
but
so
Jesus.
yeah,
yeah.
the necessary evil.
Nah, hey, just until like a couple years ago, Great Taste of the Midwest, you had to mail your check in. That's it.
You got to be in a lottery to see if you got a ticket.
Yeah.
And then you had to mail your check in.
Right.
Now they have credit cards, right?
Yeah, they do. Nevertheless. All right.
I'm ready to
moving
get a
on.
refill here.
Okay. Oh, another break.
Let's
do
break.
it.
Hey, Rob, we're back.
No,
Now that I said, hey, Rob, we're back. Yeah.
we're back. Okay.
So let's talk about my experience at the festival since I got to experience the whole thing. It was amazing.
Okay. I would just say that I don't mind working the line. It's actually very enjoyable, but
Sure.
it comes at the expense of not being able to talk to other people inside or our members. So it's not like,
right.
oh, yeah, I got stuck talking to the regular folk. No, that's what I do when I'm inside too, but
Yeah.
the context is a little different.
Let's see. So ice got delivered to the ranch hand truck, which was nice.
Yes.
He
Shout out to them. They're also carrying our extra glassware.
called me up and said, hey, if I bring the truck down, can we just load the ice on there? And that way everyone can come pick it up there.
Right.
Perfect.
Yes.
So nice.
Yes. That truck also served as physical therapy last year when Brenda came and she had just still been recovering from her ankle. And like she sat down on there and like the compressor kicks in and the whole truck vibrates. And like she's like, I could feel that in my ankle. That's so good. Like, and then I was like, I can't be here very long. I'm going to have to have a bowel movement in a minute if I keep sitting here. It's like shaking things up a little bit.
Therapy-ish.
Yeah. And well, it would have been, yeah. But yeah. Anyway, yeah. So shout out to them for also hanging on to our
Yeah,
extra
and
glassware.
not being asked, but actually saying like, "Hey, here's a thing.
Yeah.
Let's help you with this." Who else?
With the glassware, I kind of just suggested it to you, and then it just happened. So I don't know what happened between. I was very Godfather, like, see if the ranch house boys will carry these boxes that fell off this
And
truck.
then those two volunteers brought all these boxes over for us, which was nice. And let's see, who are other deserve some honorable mentions? The food trucks were amazing.
Yeah. Oh, so
Last year there was a lot more maintenance needed to get the food trucks where they wanted to be and all the stuff. And this year, I said, "You just start lining up over there and
Right.
make your way down the row." And they did. It was cool. We had
I want to talk about one of the food trucks. It wasn't really a truck.
great.
The Taiwanese chicken place, Hercules.
Herculean chicken.
Yeah, Herculean chicken. It is well. Okay, so it is
It's so
Hainanese
bizarre and so perfect.
chicken. It is essentially, if you want to compare it to it, it's basically chicken schnitzel. It is like pounded flat chicken,
or a chicken cutlet or a country fried chicken.
right? It is I don't know, size 2 fists maybe. It's
Okay, so I learned about pounding chicken when I worked at the Cheesecake Factory.
right.
Every chicken breast was pounded to exactly the same size
Thickness.
so that it could cook evenly no matter what.
Right.
I do that at home religiously.
Ah, really?
Oh, every single time I do a chicken breast, I pound that chicken breast. Herculean chicken pounds it to a very more extent than I do.
Right.
Which is
it's because it's
the
like,
idea.
It's the schnitzel thickness, right? So it's usually pork, but they do turkey schnitzel now and chicken schnitzel,
dude, it's so amazing.
right? So it's pounded that way, but the batter on it is different. It's more of it's like a tempura herbed, but very they probably put baking soda in it because those create these bubbles. So the surface area is super irregular. And I did have someone say, I just didn't get into the texture. So That might be a thing for some folks. I don't know. Those people are crazy.
That person's insane.
Okay, so
Apparently they don't like themselves.
It's about this. Well, I said it was. It's almost the size of a baseball glove when you're
Yeah.
done, right? So
When you're done, it is two hands together.
right. So they put it in this semi-insulated pocket paper, right? It's got foil on the inside, so
Yeah.
but it's still pretty warm. Obviously,
It's still pretty warm. And then they wrap another napkin around it so
right.
you don't burn your hand.
So you're walking around with that. You can still have your sample glass. I'm like, it is the perfect festival
You
food.
just, it's protein, it's carbs, it's
Right,
fat,
right.
it's spice.
right. Yeah.
I mean, I did have one. I also went to the Japanese food truck and I had a yakisoba
Yeah.
bowl.
Yep.
And then I got
Did you bring those? Were those the wontons or the
the gyozas.
gyozas you brought me? Those were good. I had those last night.
Dude, those were so good.
I know.
It was $5 for 5 gyozas. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
wild. And they were so damn good.
Yeah. And then I got some egg rolls from somewhere. I think that might also been.
There was
Herculean
also
chicken.
sexy grilled cheese. I hope he didn't get overlooked. I didn't go there. I did get the lumpias.
Yeah.
That was delicious.
Here's the thing. I do definitely under subscribe to going to all the places. That should be on our thing. We should we should have a thing like, because I'll buy all of it.
I know.
Right? It's
I'll
just
eat
it's just,
all of
it's just
it,
how
too.
do I fit that in before all the things that we have to do. So we just have to have an idea when we could have the first item that they do. And like I said, we'll buy it all. I just want to know I want to know what to talk about.
You know what I did not have to buy?
Beer?
Well, I didn't have to buy beer. That's true. And it was a beer that I'm talking about. So you're going to have to
What?
edit this too.
What do you mean?
Dennis from Mother Road.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Alonzo. Why do I have
Yes.
to edit this?
Because I know his name and I don't want to be embarrassed. So Dennis Alonso immediately said to me when he got there, "Hey,
Yeah.
I brought you a birthday present. It's a Tower Station."
Oh.
And so I had that last night.
Yeah.
After I got home,
Yeah.
got unpacked,
Yeah.
I had a delicious Tower Station
Like 19 tube can or something.
19.2 can,
Right.
9.2%
Yeah.
with mango. I believe it's mango and something.
Yeah.
And then I went to sleep because I drank a 9.2%, 19.2 ounce beer.
Right.
So that was my present from Dennis. Thank you, buddy.
Right on. We had some hemp beverages too at the Airbnb.
We had hemp beverages after the event at the Airbnb.
I
was
got
nice.
these because we had a little hemp beverage summit.
It was
And,
nice. Had
got
that
some
little
samples.
Had that seltzer.
Foreshadowing,
Had my
by the
gummies,
way.
slept like a dream.
Foreshadowing on those hemp beverages. You too may have some of those in the near future. I don't know why.
I don't know why.
You could, but all right.
I don't know
Anyway,
why. Speaking of which, I did
we're
go
we're
to
still
a
at the
little
festival, I'm
booze
sorry.
run on Friday. Oh, go ahead. Let's forget about Friday.
Okay.
That was Target and the cop cars and I had a lot of Tucson angst on Friday.
Mason wasn't there, but I wanted to also do a callback to because the Rent House booth was there. Thank you for supporting us down there, Rent House. But it reminded me when I saw them, like, because on the way down there, I listened to a podcast, and you know who was on there? On the John Hall syndicated network.
Was it maybe Mason from Red House?
He was on.
Think beer, drink beer?
No, he was on Steal This Beer.
Steal This Beer.
Which is the different format where it's more beer centric, talking about the flavors of beer more, but it's in the context of John as the moderator. Augie Carton is the owner of Carton Brewery, who has a lot of opinions. He's a guy that sometimes John is the foil to, and he tries to maintain. They do the famous. They didn't do it on the show that Mason was on. They recorded something from a festival called Little Beers in Georgia. Sounds like a festival we should go to sometime.
Sounds great.
I guess Mason got called up because Drew normally does that festival. I didn't know that they did that festival. It's now on my radar.
Surprise.
Small beers under under 4% or not, or around 4%, something like that. I don't know what I'm talking about. All I'm saying is Mason was also the representative for the Rent House Prague dinner. It's good to see him in that role. He,
Stepping out.
yeah, I mean,
talking.
I didn't necessarily foresee that as his role, and he's stepping into it. So shout out to Mason for doing all that stuff.
Helping Arizona craft beer
Right.
see a little more of the country.
Right.
I dig it.
We should talk about our Airbnb real quick.
Let's do it. It was enormous.
So as many times as we stay at Airbnbs down in Tucson, let's just focus on Tucson. It's really hard to get the same one twice. So
It's
we
an
ended up
Airbnb thing. Yes.
in a 4-bedroom Airbnb. They knew who the guild was, by the way. I don't know if that came through on your message.
That's cool.
4-bedroom, super weird place. Cool. Like I liked it. It was quirky, but super affordable.
It was quirky.
I don't know. I walk in. There's a bedroom with a full bath there, and then
in front. Yeah.
you go in the living room, into the kitchen.
And imagine this is a house built in the 40s.
Yeah, but then
Yeah.
they added on the back part.
And they added, which was probably done in the 90s, looking at the fixtures and
Yeah.
the moldings and stuff. I think it was the 90s because really what gave it away was the bathroom counter in the full guest bath.
Right.
It was Formica,
Yeah.
and they actually cut the backsplash up, and it was wild.
Yeah. So like those deals are out there, and they don't. So like a lot of Tucson places will look affordable, and then you do the pricing on it, and they charge you a ton of money for cleanup and all this other stuff.
Owner fee.
Yeah, this was super affordable. All I want to say, I mean, even if I could tell you which one to look for,
It just worked out great.
yeah, it did.
Because my daughter coming down was a last minute addition,
Right.
and
Right,
boom.
we had the room. So it's for a 4-bedroom. It priced somewhat similar to a closer location for 2-bedroom.
Oh yeah, I mean,
And it's not that far.
It wasn't far at all.
No, we were by the if you know Tucson, we were by the Time Market. That was a close place. We didn't go to it, but that
I
was
don't know what that
super
is,
close.
but yeah,
Just north of Speedway, right?
1 block north of Speedway,
Very
on
very
Helen.
university adjacent.
Yeah,
All
it was
I'll
great.
say is Airbnb still remains a value if you have if you have a need for multiple bedrooms and second
Right.
bathrooms. And
Yeah.
that's where we're at as an organization, unfortunately.
If 2 of us are traveling, 1 hotel room doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
2 hotel rooms is very expensive. Airbnb fits that need.
And why is that, Andrew? Because we are grown-ass people.
We're grown-ass
and we
men.
deserve our own
That's right.
separate spaces.
Yes, and we do not live the same life.
We spend,
I get up
we
very
spend
early in the morning.
an inordinate
and you
amount of
stay
time
out
together.
late at night.
For people who when we work together a long time, and I love you, sir, but I want to end that. with
When
a
I
wall and a
retire,
door.
it is time to retire.
We can only share the Wi-Fi at that point.
That's right.
Anyway,
That's right.
no, if you're going to roll your own adventure down in Tucson, what that does give you is, apart from the hotel experience, is you have a feel for the neighborhood. And Tucson's a very walkable place, especially in the evenings when the sun is down. It's beautiful.
It's a very walkable place.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, are we done with the festival experience? Did you have anything? Somebody asked me to hook them up with the brewery with all the teas. That was New Belgium, I think. We did have a question about our, and we'll roll into what the future holds for this festival. But someone's like, "Hey, why are you charging $20 when the experience is kind of uneven?" And I agree, it's uneven. Here's the thing:
I don't understand what happened. What did you
they
say?
were like,
$20 what?
they were saying that they were making the argument that DD should be free.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Here's the
$15 DD ticket.
Here's the thing. There is chronic ticket sharing already. we are supposed to monitor consumption, and the liquor department would expect us, if we saw a DD drinking even one sip of a beer, we're supposed to kick them out.
Yes.
And I don't want, it's not worth pursuing that. So and here's the, like when that park, I think the top end of that park is 1,500 people, maybe, right? We've come close, and whether you drink the beer or not, the beer has a footprint, but whether you drink the beer or not, you have a footprint. You take a glass. We have to print tickets for the full capacity of people. There are costs built in, but you occupy a space, and we'd much prefer to sell the beer ticket to get the most. It's a fundraiser. So when things are tight, or when we know that things are going to get filled up, that's a rational economic decision when we're raising funds. To your point, to the person's point, though, we aren't seeing the same attendance, and we have more room, so it's something.
And we see more DD tickets every single event.
Yeah, and we had commitments for some folks. I can't say that it spelled out an amazing non-alcoholic journey. It certainly does at Strong Beer. Like we had all those built in, all those non-alcs built in.
Yes.
With fewer breweries and a Tucson focus, it's not necessarily translatable. It's also the case that we get sometimes 75% of our ticket sales in the last 2 days. So it's impossible to make a separate decision to support a full experience. So I understand what you're saying. We're always taking a look at how we can make this better, but it's really not the focus of what we do, honestly. And
I mean, having DDs is especially at this event is it's not like in
an environment where you can get
we're
a ride,
at a bus stop.
Exactly. There's a bus stop right there.
It's completely walkable distance from.
You can walk to a restaurant. There's probably 75 or 80 places you go afterwards.
Yes, in walking distance.
It's yeah. So, I get it, but
I want to shout out Coco 5.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Coco 5 was our non-alcoholic vendor that participated in the event, and they are so enthusiastic.
Oh yeah.
I love it. Jordan is the guy who ran the booth.
Mm-hmm.
He was loving it. He was giving out free bottles to people. He was doing samples if people just wanted samples. My daughter and her friend Jenna are 100% converts to Coco 5.
Yeah.
And that directly came from that event. They're like, yes, we are into
so this
forever.
is the little chant that I heard in the Airbnb every once in a while.
Maybe? What is it?
You were saying Coco something?
Oh, I have no idea, bro.
All right.
Sorry.
I don't know. I was in my little
I was
area.
probably not chanting Coco 5,
Somebody
but
was.
they were super fans. I mean, they went kind of crazy. So anyways, that was amazing. We did have, I saw a brewery with an electrolyte 0% water beverage on draft, and someone tell me who that was.
I missed that because I didn't have the ability to go to every
No,
booth.
I did though.
Yeah.
I saw it somewhere. I think I took a picture.
Okay.
I'll have to let you know.
We're going to have to, if we're going to put this on the audio, I'm going to have to summon our AI announcer to announce what that was.
Correct.
It will occur in this space right here. And if not,
Wow.
they'll just be silence.
Yeah,
Anyway,
that's fine too.
let's talk about what the future of this festival is, because we are up against the hour.
We're up there, yeah. Okay. Future of this event, we had some, I don't want to say surprising, but we did have some enthusiastic support from breweries down in Tucson asking how they can help make this more of a
Multi-day thing?
bigger situation.
expand the borders of the festival to
And not only that,
pre and post
they want to also
collaborate.
kick in some actual energy to do it.
Yeah.
They don't just want to like say, hey, let's do this and then throw it onto our plate.
Right.
They actually said, hey, let's do this. Tell me how I can help make this happen.
Right.
I'm willing to give you time and energy to make this happen.
Right.
Which is amazing.
And there was talk about more collaboration. And I said, Andrew and I are for all this, but if it's just us now for the next, cycle,
I can't tell you what your brew schedules needs to be because
Right.
I don't work in your brewery.
So where we left this at its peak, when we were hitting about 1,200 people, and again, remember I said 1,500 is the max. Like at 1,500, I'd be nervous about like we're really hitting the top end of. I like space.
Packing that park, yeah.
Right.
We were at about half that this time.
We had this a partnership with the Tucson Originals. It was a series of chefs, and they did pop-ups, and they crafted their menu around certain beers. We had music, but that's when we had some support from some of our distributors, and I'm going to set aside a time to talk about
let's
that.
do that later.
But that's where we were headed. Pandemic, and now we're pared down to. To me, it's uncomfortable that we're at this point when we have so much potential to do more, and we just need a little bit of help in some areas. And I don't know, this is probably the point where we can talk about. We need distributor support. That's Hensley.
If you work for Hensley or Finley, please reach out to us because I had breweries pull out because they could not get support from their distributor. Now, is that their fault? I don't know. But it definitely hurt beer sales in Tucson because we could not get any support.
People in your portfolios wanted to participate. And when we talk about support, that's
have someone there to give them beer on Saturday.
They wanted to.
That's
they
easy.
wanted to come down on Saturday and pick up their beer,
and they couldn't.
That's the minimum level of support I'm talking about. I'm not talking about setting a draft team out and having a truck on site. Although that's something you could do.
That would be great, and you could actually support some other brands that might not have the ability to be in the market at the time. But if that's not important to you, just keep doing what you're doing because things are really.
Last year, Stone rolled it on their own. Stone, a major brand in someone's catalog. This year, New Belgium, another major brand in someone's catalog, did this on their own. I just need to know where the heck you guys are on this. Like, so you do support one of our festivals just to a degree that is, good, not great, not how it used to be. We're not asking for you to recreate 2013 through 2018. But look, we've talked to our breweries, we've set it up the chain, and I don't like to jump around things. And I also don't like to tell the public where we have problems. We've had a great partnership with legislation. We've had, we just want to sell more beer just like y'all do. We want to support these businesses just like you do. We also have breweries that perform at a high level with us. We have people who don't understand how this relationship works. We have the same aches and pains. I'm just telling you, particularly the hometown distributor, you need to step up or we're going to start having some, I want those guys happy with their relationship. This is going to be a pain point for them. Because this organization cannot continue to be the only one who cares about these kinds of things in those, markets.
There are other organizations that do beer festivals that are sometimes supported by distributors. They are doing it for a completely different reason. And what we tell our members is, hey, participate in our events if you care about the cause.
Yeah.
If you care about or participate at other people's events if you care about the cause. If the Humane Society wants to put on a beer festival and you think that is a valuable use of your energy and your time and your product, do it. Absolutely. If there's an organization who asks you, maybe they're an insurance company most of the time, but they just put on one event a year, and you say, oh, I'm going to go participate in that. Why? Is that organization forwarding craft beer in Arizona? Is that organization providing a great outlet for marketing? If that's the case and you feel it's valuable, do it. So I say to the distributors, when you support a newspaper that decides they want to put on a beer festival simply to put their name out there, is that more important than working with independent breweries who might be interested in working with you? If you don't show up, they're not going to show up for you either. Do you care about craft beer in Arizona? Do you want to really say this matters, this is important? Well, maybe you should get involved instead of saying, oh, we don't have the money this year. Even to open the door for your breweries to pick up beer, I don't know, man. I mean, I'm not looking to work for a brewery ever again, so I guess I can say stuff like this. I do want craft beer in Arizona to have a good future, and I hope that all the distributors do too. So, yeah.
Listen, I know how this works, because it's either will be heard by somebody or it's going to be passed up the chain and you're all going to get locker room material on it. Let me just say, I've done this for 10 years now and I've never reached this point. And I'm not talking about, oh, well, you didn't do that. Like, we're moving forward here. Like, there is a lot of things that we let go of, and we are anxious to find out how we all get to work together in the future. So this is not a looking backward, why didn't you do this? This is the opportunity. Unfortunately, it's born of our last experience. But if you know anything about what I do, I got a really short memory. I just want to move forward. I want to put your name on things. I want to ask you questions about how this makes sense for you. And if it doesn't, that's fine. Then we can move forward. But, I would think as a distributor, if a supplier asks for product, whether you're financially involved in the split of that or not, to be able to pick that up on a Saturday or make arrangements or support legislation that allows us as a organization to warehouse that beer weeks in advance. We'll take care of the refrigeration, all that stuff. Then you should support that, because I just need our brewery's product at a place so they can do the festival.
We have breweries around the state that wanted to participate, that signed up and then said, sorry, our distributor is not supporting this event. We can't get beer. We can't be there. And that happened in the last week and 2 weeks before the event.
Right.
So there's my rant. That's it.
Okay.
I don't do it often, but there it is.
There it is. Yeah. So the festival has a bright future because people who are there really love it, and they love the location. And, it would be nice for us to add value to that place moving forward.
Man, do I want to do music so bad. I know if we send out a survey, and I'm not saying we're going to, I'm saying if we do, that will be the number one thing. Need music.
Yeah. And as much shade as that has, there would be an opportunity to do maybe a couple 10 by 20s or a 30 by 30 tent in there with a sponsored purpose. And that would be incredible. I think now, as we are, again, not to the attendance levels we are, to build it out differently. And again, like when I say I want to add value back to that park, there are things that we could work with the city of Tucson to make more sense for a lot of different events. There is shade. There could be more shade. They have a band shell pavilion that is faced the wrong way, There's a lot of concrete that and they actually did add some.
They have done
permanent-
a lot to this to the park in the last year. So last year was my first time ever visiting that park. As a brewery,
Right.
I never went to that event in that park. They added several picnic tables, like
Yep.
7 or 8. They look great. They painted the band shell. They painted the stage. They've done a great job of just, cleaning the whole thing up. It looks awesome.
Right. So there are hardscape things that could be done. There are some shuffleboard courts that I'm not sure that
Shuffleboard
that
courts,
they're not being
horseshoe courts. We can use those.
I'm not sure they're being used by the. I think they were
They're
built
not.
a long
They're
time
kind
ago.
of. They're kind of turned off. Yeah.
Yeah. So, any corporate entity wishing to add value back to Tucson could help with a small sponsorship, and we can
Absolutely.
devote dollars to support our needs, but also do some long-term things to make that a more viable location. And I'm saying this knowing that we could we could position ourselves out of being able to compete. If we add value to that park over the long term, it may not be the answer for us as it becomes more popular. That's kind of what happened at Steel Indian School Park. Although they didn't take any of the long-term suggestions, like that. I'm getting off topic here.
Yeah.
But Indian School Park should be our central park in Phoenix, and they need more parking. They could have a permanent band shell. They could make it a more music-friendly place. That's
You're
not what we
killing
do.
me.
I'm just saying, though, right? I know I'm killing you, but those things were counter our interests, but our short-term interests. But our long-term interest is we want the places that we do business in to be successful too.
Yeah.
And I know that's what our larger corporate entities down there want. That's what our distributors want. That's what our larger breweries want.
Yeah.
So let's work together, man. Wow. Let's kumbaya on that, man. Let's just,
That was solid.
all right.
That was a great weekend. I am so thankful for all the breweries, and everyone brought their A game. Man, there were some incredible beers. Everyone was just it was really a party.
Yeah.
Like every brewery brought so much staff that they could rotate, that they could enjoy the event too. It was just awesome. It was great.
Yeah. Don't miss out on these opportunities. And the opportunities right now are in the smaller things that we do. We've got Real
Yep.
Wild and Woody coming up. We've got Wickenburg Oktoberfest coming up.
Barrels,
that's-
Bottles, and Brews.
Barrels, Bottles, and
And
Brews.
then, of course, we've got our Arizona Craft Beer Awards. Like, I have to ramp up for that big time. We have had some changes in our technical committee, and I'm very confident it's going to be an excellent opportunity to showcase Arizona beers. We
There-
had a couple of personnel changes on the technical committee.
Technicoco 5.
Technicoco 5 committee, and a great opportunity to bring the premier technical brewer in Arizona on as part of our committee. So that's just incredible.
I thought we were wrapping this up.
We are wrapping it up. Sorry, I got so excited.
I know. My final thought on this is there are a string of smaller events. There is a hint of getting the band back together, and people who thought, things got big and things got impersonal, like it's been very personal and very small and very flexible. So it is kind of like the old days in that respect. So,
Arizona Strong coming up February 15th.
all right.
Maybe we'll change the name.
People have asked about that.
I know.
And it's like all right, here's the rule. We don't want to conflict with Waste Management, and
Right.
their schedule seems to be tied to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So that's where we're at.
Yep.
So we hold the position.
February 15th appears to be the date.
The Thursday after the Super Bowl begins our beer week.
Yes,
And the
sir.
Saturday
That's
after the Super
right.
Bowl is our traditional time.
Booyah.
But if Waste Management says they want a different week,
Or if the Super Bowl changes like they're talking about.
then we have to figure it out.
Amen.
Cheers.
This is Aurora, Arizona Beer Frontiers AI voiceover. Join us on June 8th in Flagstaff for Real Wild and Woody, a smaller, woodsier, pine-scented beer fest. Real Wild and Woody features the finest breweries in the state and the region. American wild ales, barrel-aged wonders, delicate cask beers, and modern mixed culture quaffables. Porch drinking called Real Wild and Woody, a secret garden party for lovers of mixed culture, fodder-conditioned, funky and barrel-aged beers. The Real Wild Woody Festival really is the teddy bear's picnic of festivals. This intimate event will sell out and you will not want to miss it. RealWildWoody.com